So, guys, it is time for our Thursday morning virtual coffee chat. And I am Karen Thomas, and we are going to be chatting with the community about different things with our businesses, challenges, or things that have come up that maybe we want different ideas on or somebody's different opinion on. So if you like the information that we cover, of course, give us a shout out or give us a hashtag replay if you watch this on the replay. If you have a question that you'd like the community to discuss, maybe you're not sure quite how to tackle something, send me a DM or make a comment here, and we'd be glad to cover maybe a question that you might have. Even if you can't be on our chat physically, we know a lot of people watch the replay, and we do appreciate all that watch the replay and list their aha moments after the replay. So we're going to let the community introduce itself. Maria was here first, so I'll let her start off.
Hi, I'm Maria Gertzen, and sometimes I can be bullheaded, and I sell color street nails.
Where are you at, Maria?
I'm in Corsicana, Texas.
Very good. It's cooled off in there, right? Hasn't it? A little bit?
Yeah, the 70s. It's a nice reprieve. But you see my different look?
I see it. I was sitting there, it kind of fades in and out. Oh, now I see both ears. I was only seeing one for a minute. Very good. I love it. Very good. All right. Now, Miss Vidra.
Hi, I am Vidra Moon, also known as the Safety Net Builder, because as a life insurance agent, my mission is to help protect families and individuals from the financial storms of life. And I'm in Charleston, South Carolina.
Yay. All right.
Yay.
Anybody have any things we want to discuss, or are we going to chat about what I put in the event discussion? Anybody got suggestions?
No, I think that being different in appearances draws attention to what you're doing. People are more apt to listen a little better. What you were just discussing just a moment ago.
Oh, before we started the recording?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, for those that we were having a little discussion while I was waiting for people to come in for the community about when we look different, because last week I had a different look. Today I have a different look. I kind of got two, and I thought I'd try it out, see what people thought. Do you like the look? Do you not like the look? Put it in the comment. My mom didn't like it. I put it on this morning because she's kind of not real thrilled with my shorter hair. And so she said, are you ever going to let it grow out again? I said, so I showed her my new wig. She said, I don't like that one. So, but we were discussing about when we dress up or when we put our makeup on or when we change our look, or even at Halloween when we put a different costume on, that we kind of have a different swagger, we have a different attitude, that it changes to a degree. We don't feel like the same old. So put it in the comment. When you change your look, do you feel different? Do you feel like you're either, when you dress up and put your makeup on, do you feel prettier, sexier, have a different kind of walk to your strut? Let us know. So I always feel that we sometimes need to get out of our comfort zone and change something. Change our hair. Hair always grows back. Hair can be changed. You can change the color, change something. I mean, going to a plastic surgeon's a little bit more drastic, but you can change your makeup. You can try different colors. You can try different hair. You can try all kinds of different things. And we need to kind of get rid of the beliefs that we are stuck, because we're never stuck. We can change anything. We can change our life. We can change our home. Everything is changing all the time. Would you not say so? Everything's always changing. How you change is up to you. It's about do you feel like you need to be kinder, listen more? What is something in your life that you feel you could improve? Anybody got ideas on how they might want to step up their game? I need to listen better because I always have pretty much diarrhea of the mouth. That's why I love doing this, and I'm doing YouTube and going to be, expanding into YouTube. And I invite you all to come to my YouTube channel. I'm all about a better life is a choice. We make choices every day, and our choices affect whether our life improves or our life goes backwards. Nothing stays the same. Tomorrow will be different depending on what you do today, the seeds you plant, the things and thoughts you think. What y'all think? Don't let me have diarrhea of the mouth today.
You know, when I
Yes.
Go ahead,
ahead.
Deidre.
You go ahead.
Okay, Miss Deidre.
Is constantly changing. And can you hear me?
Okay, it's my internet's a little unstable, so we're trying to power through this. So you were breaking up a little, but let's try again.
Oh, yes, on my end, it's breaking up as well. Yes, I was saying, yes, you are right. Things are always changing. And for me, I am always constantly working on my mindset. Um, and I shared with Maria that this weekend I was actually on my way to Tennessee. I was about to run a half marathon. And as soon as I got there, my car broke down.
Oh,
And And the first thing that I realized is that my car actually broke down in a safe place. I was so grateful for that because I drove through the mountains. I was in spots where I had absolutely no cell phone service. And it's just amazing that in that instant when my car broke down, it broke down right in front of the driveway into the entry of a motel. And even in that horrible moment, I was able to see the silver lining because I could have broken up down anywhere else.
we have a friendly universe. It's all saying thank you. I appreciate you taking care of getting me where I could handle this better.
Yes.
It's all fabulous. Wonderful. So did you run the race?
No, unfortunately not. I got there Friday evening. The race started Saturday 7 a.m. and my car broke down. I had no way of getting around, and I was more concerned with getting my car fixed than trying to find a way to get to the race. And
Okay.
I
Well,
was
and
able
I
to get my
accept that. I think that me personally, I'd have gone and run the race and worried about it afterwards. But that but it's kind of a few years because things are always breaking down. Things are always doing. I'd have gone and done what I went there to do. Ubers and Lyfts are one.
Yes, they are. Maybe I'll go back next year.
We made choices and it was okay because that was where your focus. You might not have been able to really run the race well because of that, and it's okay. You made the choice. I'm just putting the perspective out there that things are always going to get in our way sometimes and try to trip us up. Your car was in a
Yes.
safe place. Take an Uber, do the race, and then come back and deal with it. But then that would have been Sunday, and maybe there wouldn't, and you're in Tennessee. Who knows if anything would have been open? So I
No,
get
it
it.
wasn't. That was another reason that I was like, because I arrived on Friday and every body shop that I called, they said nobody's going to be in till Monday. And my thought was like, well, I don't want to be here till Monday.
Right.
I
So
wasn't
did
planning on being here till Monday.
so did you find somebody open on a Saturday?
Um, Somebody came to fix my car Sunday morning, and as soon as they fixed my car, I drove home. So,
Okay.
and it was also a lesson to me as far as just being mindful of taking care of things. Because when I lived in Virginia, you have the annual state inspections on cars, and here in South Carolina, we don't have that.
Right.
So I have been slacking off on getting my car inspected. So I take
Ah,
responsibility for that.
Okay. Well, I will say thank you then the next time I get my car inspected, because being here in Virginia, it's something that's always there.
Not here in South Carolina. Like, that's why there are lots of broken down cars on the side of the highway because nobody inspects their cars.
Right. Well, there is maintenance, and it's just like doing the daily care with your business, your cars. Everything takes, you know, an active role to keep it running well. So you can
Yes,
take
it
that
does.
analogy into, okay, I didn't get wasn't getting my maintenance, or I didn't get my car checked out, especially going on a trip. You know, you should, when I drove the school bus, if we were going over any kind of span of water, we had to have the bus to the garage and checked out before we could change and go over a body of water, from one side of the, like over the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel or over the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel, either one that went to a different part of the state, we had to have
Yes.
it all checked out. So, but I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you got it fixed. I hope it wasn't anything major.
It was a radiator,
It was
so
a,
needed a new radiator.
so did it have a hole?
Well, I had an oil change last Tuesday at Firestone before I left town, and with the oil change, they just do the courtesy check. And when I got to Tennessee, apparently the radiator was leaking, so I'm surprised that they didn't notice anything when I did the oil change. And fortunately, the damage to the car wasn't that bad because as soon as the coolant was empty, the check engine light came on, and the car shut down, and it wouldn't drive.
Right. Well, I'm glad
So
that it all worked out for you. Do you use
yes.
that shop regularly?
Yes, I do. And I've had just the courtesy inspections, but as far as like a full inspection that would diagnose anything else, I don't even remember the last time I had that done.
Well,
So
they say
it's
they
my fault.
do it. Maybe they didn't do it that time. If they were really busy or backed up, they may not have done it. See, my mechanic knows I Uber, and so he always is topping off my fluids. He takes good care of my car, and that's why I keep going back to him, because he's always looking out and giving me ideas. Okay, this is starting to show wear, this and that. So, but anyway, I'm glad you're okay, and I'm
I am
glad
too.
that it wasn't something too drastic. All right, Miss
Yes.
Maria.
I'm jumping to put my word in edgewise. I too had an aha moment during her catastrophe because one, a community of people seemed to make you feel more comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. Beatrice reached out to me and I was like, you're not able to. So the tow truck driver, I don't think she would mind me telling this, told
No, I
her
don't.
the oil had all ran out of the motor. And I'm going, oh, Vidra. I said, I sure hope that motor's not locked up because I used to run semis and I know what can happen. So what happened when the water went all out of her radiator, it tripped her computer and that's what shut the motor down. But the tow truck driver said that the plug wasn't put in right. And I'm like, how could she have gotten that 300 and some odd miles, you
Exactly.
know, without any oil in the motor? I even looked at my husband. I said, he said there was no oil on the dipstick. And I thought, kind of crazy. So it made me, the second part of the aha moment was when someone tells you something, you do your due diligence yourself and check it out. Because had she had just gone on what the tow truck driver had told her, being a woman, thinking, okay, he's got more knowledge than I do. We were conversing back and forth, but that wasn't it. She had was
No.
to the dealership and they finally said, okay, it's going to cost X amount of money and this going to cost X amount of money. And she's like, I don't know where it's going to come from. 11 o'clock at night. I don't know where it's going to come from. So what I do the best is I started praying for Vidra and I said, just show her something. And I'm telling you, it was somebody in the Bible Belt. So Sunday morning, tear out a radiator, find her, and put it in. I'm gonna take my ears off. And that alone, and when she said, I'm on the road or I'm home, or I forgot what her next text was when I asked her how things was. And so, maybe she talked to other people out there, but I felt that we touched and the community sense of just knowing there's somebody out there to listen, and she's stuck in a hotel room, and I hate to see her be there to Monday. You have to start the week out right on a Monday, or um it just keeps continuing to drag on out. And I'm not saying that negatively, cancel, but I'm just saying the way it goes. So it was nice to know about community, and it was nice to know to redo your due diligence, because had she had relied just on that tow truck driver, it'd have been really catastrophic. So you never know, being in a strange place, what his ulterior motives would be. I'm not saying something bad, but I'm saying that maybe he has an uncle that's a mechanic and trying to give him some business. You don't know. So the third thing is rely on your inner self, because you really know within your own spirit whether things are right or whether things are wrong. And I think that Vidra showed up dressed well for that whole occasion. And I gotta,
Oh, thank you.
because she taught me a lot through that. That's all I got to say.
Well, that's what we're here for, is to be community and to be, and I'm glad that, Vidra, that you felt that you could call Maria and talk to her about it. That's, that warms my heart that we are connected even outside of the Facebook group, that we're connected, in different ways that are supportive.
She texted, I just don't get this. I don't know what to do. And I asked her, was she going to run the race? And she said no. And I thought to myself, that probably is a wise thing, because you're stuck in a strange town on a weekend, and what are they going to get done? And if you don't get it, they're going to quit. So yeah, she
I'm
taught me
glad
a
you
lot.
were there for her. And thank you for Maria for being there and giving her that advice.
Wasn't right, because I got to thinking afterwards. And then she'd come back with, hours later, it was the radiator afterwards. And that was my aha. I should have known that. It should go down.
Well, I'm just a firm believer. I've really been working in trusting the universe. When you whether you talk about it with God or you talk about it with prayer, whenever you start focusing on finding the right solution, when you leave it saying, show me the right, we don't need to know the hows. We just need to know, what do we need? We need the car to be fixed. We need somebody, bring that person in. When you start focusing your energy on the positive of, there's somebody out there to help me, there is something and a way, instead of poor pitiful me, oh my God, I'm screwed. When you sit there and you start going, oh, I can't believe this is happening, but you called Maria, Maria started praying, you brought in a support system, and the focus and the energy started pouring in bringing you the solution and the people, because things show up where they say serendipity,
Yes.
things show up. How do you account for that? God, the universe, energy draws energy. And when you start deciding that, okay, you were supposed to have this moment, what was it? How can I be my best person through this? Because life's not about not having challenges, right?
Right.
Life is about, how can I be the best person through this? How can this be a win-win for whatever is involved? And that's where the praying, the focus, the energy, and it's about training our brain, because that's what the post was in the event, training our brain not to jump to and go, oh my God, what am I going to do now? I'm screwed. The whole poor pitiful me thing. You can go there for a moment. It's okay, Vidra, to have gone. I'm sure you went there for a moment. I would have gone there for a moment.
I did. I was there the whole weekend, crying.
But the thing but then you get a handle on saying, okay, and you go within, you say, okay, who can I reach out to? How can I get the support and some guidance? And that's where you reached out for guidance to a trusted person. And that warms my heart. And it shows that even though you have to cry, we have to have those moments that we experience the emotion, because when you bury it, it's going to come out another way. So, taking the moment to cry, to scream, to yell, it's kind of, and it's hard for us women to really understand that it's okay to do those things, because what we don't understand is when we bottle it up, our emotions come out in being sick, and it comes out in the destructive ways of other things in our life. But if you ever just go through the moment of screaming, yelling, crying, it's like a 2-year-old. How long can a 2-year-old have a tantrum?
Not very long.
No, because they get it out of their system. They have it, they go, ah! You ignore it, and it goes away. But they went through and they've experienced all the feelings that went along with that hurt, that frustration, whatever it was. They went ahead and felt it. So good for you, Vidra.
Thank you.
Okay, because you're ahead of me, because I was taught to shut everything down and not to do any of that, and trying to get back in touch with feeling my way and allowing that to happen is a process. I'm having to learn how to be the 2-year-old and just let it go, let it experience it, and let it pass through, because
Yeah.
it's not sitting in it. And when we bottle it up and we put it in here, and then it just stews. It starts decaying from the inside out.
Yep.
And being in a strange place, I get you, it's but but there is always, I won't say a total solution, but there is always, if you sit down and breathe through yourself, get through whatever the shock of it is, experience the emotion of it, there is always, when you don't let yourself go into the pity party, the universe will give you ideas on how to move through it.
Definitely. And prayer definitely helps, because when I initially went to the dealership, they wanted $2,500 to fix my car. And that was part of another reason I was so upset. But fortunately, the gentleman who fixed my car on Sunday, he did it for $780.
Okay.
Oh my word. That's
So
more.
is that where the tow truck came into being? Is that you had it towed to the dealership and then towed back to the hotel? I lost you, Vidra.
She went away.
Yeah.
There she is.
I don't know, maybe her internet, with having the internet gets so busy, and we stream, so many stuff, that sometimes the things just get a little unstable. So, but
And through there, I mean, that's got to play havoc with a satellite.
it's, I'm on my old computer, and so sometimes I don't know if it's the processing of my old computer with some of these newer things. I have my other computer running a thing for me right now, so that's also another thing on the internet. So who knows? I wanted to be here, and so I have another meeting I'm recording that I was supposed to be on or that's a 5-day thing, but I knew I could record part of it and still do here. It kicked her out. She got all the way out. Oh no.
You're not doing another master, are you?
Do what?
Another boot camp?
No, this one was on manifesting. I have several mentors that I work with, and Forbes is one of them, and Peter Sage is the other. And so Peter Sage is having a manifesting challenge this week. I've done it before, but every time you do something, it's kind of like when going through Forbes's Pitches Masterclass. Every time that you attend something, you hear something different, you are different. Everything changes who we are, so we interpret things different. So this is the second time I've been through this. I've heard this material before, but when people ask different questions, different things, it brings out different answers to him because he does it live. And so when you listen, you are interpreting and picking up different parts of it. So I'm recording it so that I didn't miss it, because I paid for the VIP to have the extra hour ahead of time that before the general one. But I'm always about trying to expand and bring myself to a higher level. And you can only do that by showing up in trainings at least once a month. You know, I have a tendency to do it a little bit more than that. I call myself a training addict because I really like expanding my brain. But when I was growing up, I was so challenged as a child. And I learned so many, I didn't learn how to be a good human. My mother didn't know how to teach me how to be a good human because her mother didn't teach her how to be a good human. And my great-grandmother didn't teach my grandmother how to be a great human. So we passed down some of these really, really ugly limiting beliefs, or how you're supposed to act, or how you're supposed to be. And when you have to learn to live so that you don't cause yourself to be seen, or you're trying not to be bad. I spent a meeting with one of my other mentors last night, and it was about, I'm an ADHD child. And they really don't know the cause of ADHD, but part of it can be chemical, and some of it can be the stress. My mother was under a lot of stress the last parts of her pregnancy. And I was born into a very stressful time in my parents' life. And they didn't manage it well, and it was very ugly. And so my first 3 years, there was not a lot of peace, quiet, or loving moments that were filled with me being adored. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of I don't deserve. I've kind of much working through the I'm not enough, but the I deserve, because I always was doing things that made my mom fuss at me, because made me feel like I was bad all the time. I was always, I'm got all this energy. I got all this diarrhea of the mouth. I bouncing off walls. I bounce off walls. That's what I did as a kid. And my mom didn't know how to deal with it because I'm so polar from her. My mom's a homebody. She likes to just sit and be, and she's just very, she likes being outside. She likes being active, but she's very quiet. And I am not quiet.
Hi, Vidra.
I'm back. I don't know what happened to the internet over here.
We just got to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
So that has been the biggest thing, is when something happens, my first reaction is, okay, what did I do to deserve this? What did I do to deserve this? Oh my God, I screwed up. Oh my God, I did it wrong. What did I do? Okay. And life isn't, it's getting rid of that, because it's not that we do anything to deserve. We deserve the best of life ever. But life happens and it brings us into challenges for us to know and start accepting. The more you step up and say, this is just a blip. This is just happening. It has nothing to do with what I did or did not do. This is just one of those bumps in the road. And when I get through the bump, it's done. And the better I can do that, the better I can learn to get through the bump in the road and keep it where it's not that I deserved it, the less it will happen, because life will keep giving me these things until I get past it.
Aha.
Does that make sense? Because
Aha.
life keeps giving you tests. I keep wanting to be, not reactive. I like not like this. And it says, okay, let's see. Have you learned it yet? Have you learned it yet? Have you learned it yet? And each time now, I'm getting better at it. Because when I had my last car accident, I don't know, did I tell you all this story about not my last car accident and going to water country?
Yes.
Okay, then I told you this story. I made a mistake. I looked one way too long, and when I pulled out, I didn't see another car. They hit me. It wasn't a really bad accident, but it was. I went through, got the police done, whatever, and I said, I was supposed to go to water country with grandbaby. I said, I'm going. I am not letting this blip. This was an accident. Yep. Okay, I'm going to be my best self through this. What can you do?
And you didn't beat yourself up for it.
No, I made the mistake. I tell myself, okay, did I deserve to do it? It was just one of those things. Why didn't I not see the car? Sometimes I think that life has us, things just happen. And I really truly did not ever see the car, but it was dawn. It was 6 o'clock a.m. in the morning, and it was a silver car on a black top, a black road. Who knows? But sometimes I think things happen just to see how we're going to work through it. How are we going to be? How are we going to manage the situation? And I just decided I was managing it like, okay, it was my fault. I accept that. Called the insurance. It goes in it's going in the shop at the end of the month when I go to New Hampshire. You still going up north, Miss Maria?
No.
No? Okay.
It's going to be, if I do, it's going to be the third week of October.
Okay.
When are you?
We're going to be up there the first week of October. And see, mom's going through a whole thing now that I'm having to help her with. Is her brother is basically, he's in a nursing home and they are just waiting for him to die. He's not eating.
Is he younger?
Yes, he's 5 years younger than my mother, but he's been diabetic. But he tried to crawl out of the bed and he's missing a leg, but he fell on his head. But he had, I guess, in years ago or whatever, with hospital stuff, they make you fill out forms. He didn't want any synthetic food. He didn't want, extra measures. So now they're basically, they're not feeding him. So how long can he last without nutrition?
They did that to my brother-in-law, and it was so sad to see. Food is a necessity, not a life-sustaining. I even that. I'm sorry. I just don't.
But mom doesn't know what, we're so close to our trip. It's like, well, if he dies before we go, do I go to the funeral? Do I go to my trip? She's kind of like, she wants to go. She's kind of, and I'm trying to support her, saying, and that how emotionally, because we don't all know how we're supposed to support other people. When a family member dies, the funeral is for the family. My ex-husband taught me that. He says the funeral's not for the person that's dead. They're done. They're gone. They're in a different place. He said the funeral is for the family, to show support of the family and the emotional bonding that families bringing together through that moment. And my uncle is there close to Chicago, and we're now pricing the trains. I said, well, Mom, if he dies before, you can take the train. I'll get you an Uber there, and then you can take the train and I'll meet you in New Hampshire. I don't know, just trying to help her not feel bad if she decides not to go. I said, Mom, if you decide not to go, his wife is in ICU in the hospital from a surgery that she's not recovering well from. It's what's the decision? She goes, I just don't know what to do. I said, it's okay. Just breathe and let life give you the answer. Just ask for the answer. Ask for the guidance of what you should do. I said, my grandparents lived in California. Now, I wasn't close with my grandparents. They only decided to come see me in my life a couple of times. And I know money was expensive to try to come way out. We're in Virginia, they're in California. But they didn't even call. I mean, it was one of those situations that my grandparents really did not they decided not to be a part of my life. When I knew that they were declining, I decided to fly to California to go see them while they were still functional, while they would still know. They were starting to go into the early stages of dementia. So I flew out there. I did not go back for the funeral. I went while they could know I was there. I wanted them to know that I cared, to fly out and come see them when they could still talk to me, while they could still converse. We could go for walks with the dogs. That to me, what was important. I'm okay with that. Now, somebody else might look at that decision and say, oh my God, you didn't travel home for the funeral? Well, when my grandfather died, my grandmother was in dementia. She wouldn't have known I was there. I talked to the family, but it was a great expense, and I have a special needs child. It was not something that I could just up and do, because death isn't always convenient. In fact, it's never convenient. And
No, I honor you, because for the simple reason that you did, even though they didn't give to you during your childhood, you still gave to them in their retirement years, whether they realized you were there or not. That brought closure to you, because when they passed, you felt peace within yourself, saying, I went, I did, we did.
right.
We
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. I decided to go when they were first diagnosed, that they were in the early stages, because I wanted them to know I cared enough to go. So they knew when I went to visit. I did not go to the funeral. I did not fly back out. I just could not arrange it at a time. And once one passed, it wasn't very long for the other one to pass. So that was a decision I made, but I've always been very proactive. When my daughter was born with spina bifida, you start learning to plan. How do you tackle the next thing? What's the next thing coming? What may happen? How do you navigate these things? And Vidra, that's part of what your whole business is about, is looking forward. How do you plan for those changes? How do you plan and make arrangements for the things that you want taken care of in whatever situations? So it's teaching people how important that is, because most people are reacting every day. They're just reacting to whatever falls into their life. And as you can see, things fall into your life all the time. But you learned a lesson, Vidra, with now, okay, I need to make sure you had your oil changed. I would have thought, they say they do that checkup, right?
Well,
But
I guess they didn't.
the thing is, did you tell them you were going out of town?
No, I didn't.
Okay. See, the thing is maybe if you see now, when I was going on my trip 6 weeks, when I went to Utah, I had my car in there for the oil change ahead of time. I told my mechanic, I'm going out of town. Could you please look it over and make sure that everything is looking good? I don't want to have a breakdown across the country. Now, things could have happened. You just never know.
Yeah.
But I told him, and he knew, and he went through the car to make sure that I had no. And I did that several weeks ahead of time so that in case there was an issue, I could get it taken care of.
So I think when they check it, they just check the fuel, the levels of the liquid. They check the oil. I mean, they check the windshield water fluid. They check the radiator because it's cooled down. That's all they do is check the fluid. They don't actually look at the radiator. That was something that was going to go out whether Vidra went to Tennessee or whether she stayed in North Carolina.
Well, and that may be true. The thing about it is if they would have looked at it, when you go in for an oil change, it's not sitting there long enough and it's not running. See, when you're doing an oil change, it's not running. Maybe it was only dripping when it was running. They weren't looking at it when it was running.
Yeah.
And maybe, the thing is hoses, hoses get holes in them. You never know at what point. And see, I've have hoses that get replaced. When I did my last radiator flush, my mechanic told me I should replace hoses. I didn't do that. It was a little bit more than I had at the time. But at some point here in the next 6 months, I'm going to have him, look and see where my hoses are because I'm on the road a lot. But it's the heads up that at the time I wanted just the radiator flushed because we were going into August, which is hot, and I was driving a lot. And I was trying to be proactive to at least because this was a new car. I've only had it a year and I hadn't ever changed the radiator fluids. So, but one step at a time. But we learn as we go through things. The funny thing is it's never going to show up the same way the next time. It's always going to be something different. But I've just tried to start learning that whatever the situation is, to take a deep breath and say, okay, how can I be the best me through this? How can I be either supportive of somebody? What can I do to be the best through this? Because challenges are always going to happen. It's not about having an easy road. How's Jack?
Waiting on the vet.
Did he have his surgery?
Waiting on the vet. I keep over there and I'm waiting on the vet. And I'm hoping it's not going to be too exorbitant. But he's still in the crowd. He's still doing well. I know he's got to be in pain.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still the same loving animal.
Good. I just happened to think about it that you're going through this challenge with Jack. And it's hard when it's our animals are like family.
Yes, and I just was telling my husband just yesterday or the day before that all the I'm doing analysis we're talking. The other day I ended up giving him all the money that I had saved for hay. And with $100 left over, which is good, but I'm not sure I still have all the hay I need because we were far behind in moisture. It was terrible. 11 inches behind. We're getting rain now, but at the same token, it's hard on them too. A lot of them are getting not sick because of the volatile. Not that it's that cold, but it's just hard on them. They can't eat one day and then they have to go a day, and I just can't feed them every day. They go 3 days, 16 cows go 3 days on 2 bales. That's enough. They like overeat, but it's just the weather has a lot to do with things. And so I'm hoping I hear from that vet today. I'm hoping they'll, and if they, I was just thinking myself, I saw this message come through and said, I'm wait, I can't afford to do this. I can't afford not to. And I have a vet that's willing to come put him down if need be, but I have to make that decision.
Right. Well,
That's
the thing is the can't afford, your mouth says it, your ears hear it, and that becomes a reality. You never know what the universe may bless you with that could help you. I've quit saying I can't afford anything because the universe is abundant. And there's lots of ways that you can be blessed that aren't always money. And so I would encourage you, whether you decide to do the surgery or whatever the prognosis is, we have to do what's best for the long-term health of our pets.
yes.
So even if you could afford it and it wasn't the best thing for Jack, you'd still have to make that decision. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So the afford has nothing to do with it, because when we know that that whatever the long term is, we're going to do what we feel led to do. So that's my suggestion. He's been in my prayers. I will keep praying for him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies, thank you so much. I appreciate our discussion. I hope it's been helpful. And for those out there, when you see the replay, let us know if this was, if you had aha moments on it, and what you thought, or any suggestions, or join in the conversation, because we all read the comments of what your thoughts on today's conversation was. All right, ladies, till next week. I'll see you next Thursday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, my name is Karen Thomas. But guess what? That is not important. What's important is your success online. I can help you start a successful, thriving business online, no matter how many times you have failed. If you have a desire to win, you can. All you need is Wi-Fi, a laptop or desktop, and be able to follow simple directions. Reach out to me and I can show you exactly how.